3, 2, and 1.
Welcome to another edition of 2-on-1. This is your host, Michael Vetrano. Along with us today is Ben Seyers. He's the pride of East Meadow. He's the current head coach of Roosevelt. How are you, Coach?
I'm good. How you doing?
Coach, good. We're excited to talk to you. We think that you're doing great things at Roosevelt, and I want to talk to you about a number of things. Right after that, how did you get involved in wrestling, Coach?
At Woodland Middle School, I was maybe 90-something pounds. And honestly, just to be a part of something. It was something new. I wasn't a part of a kid program or anything. My friends were doing it. That was really it. And from there, just built relationships within the team and ran with it.
So Woodland, that's East Meadow, I believe. I'm a Suffolk guy, but I believe that's East Meadow. So as we were talking off the air, I know that you were part of that, 06, 07 run at East Meadow, storied run at East Meadow. You guys had a fantastic program. I know that you guys had a very big Long Island Challenge, which is no longer in existence. That was kind of the precursor to the dual meet championship, but it was we'll call it the top teams from in Nassau and the top teams from Suffolk. Even a couple of years we brought in some teams from out of state. I remember actually you guys beat us one year, so I still have some bad memories of that. When I was at Sable, I know that you guys also had a really good run. I believe your senior year in the UE Duels, which was the precursor to the New York State Dual Meet Championship. I believe you knocked off Shenango Forks at that tournament. They were ranked number 1 in the state. I remember there's a big article the next day locally. So you obviously had an exciting high school career. You wrestled for Coach Reynolds and Coach Downey and some really big names in the sport. So obviously, I think you had a great experience at East Meadow, right? I mean, certainly from afar, you guys had a winning team. You guys won a lot. You had a talk about family. I know that you guys were a tight-knit unit, right? And
That was it, yeah.
And so now you're at Roosevelt, right? What have you kind of gleaned from your time at Woodland Middle School and East Meadow High School, and now you're at Roosevelt? Roosevelt is a different area, if you will. I mean, I think that each area has its pros and cons in terms of coaching wrestling, right? I think that and by all accounts, when we talk to other coaches in Nassau County and Suffolk County, people, whether you know this or not, people know who you are, Coach. They think you're doing a good job. And again, I want you to know that, and we appreciate your time in the program. But getting back to the question, what have you brought from your time at East Meadow wrestling for two of the top coaches, really in Nassau County, to now your time at Roosevelt?
Yeah, it's really the experience, the relationships that were formed, and really, I mean, it's cliche to say, the life lessons you've learned, but the things that Bill Lehman, Tom Reynolds, Ray Downey, the experience that they gave us, was really just impacted me for the rest of my life. Bringing that to Roosevelt, I came here in 2013. There wasn't much of a program here. Wasn't really too known. But again, it was just about creating that positive experience for these kids, making this experience from 7th to 12th grade something that they'll be able to talk about with their families, with their friends, talk about with their teammates in the future. And again, just building those relationships and experiences is what I try to create here.
Well, a couple of things. Matt Diano is reminding me kind of off screen here that you guys did beat us. I think it was 31-30. Beat us by a point. So kudos to you guys. He's trying to give me back some nightmares. And I remember you guys lost in the finals to Islip. And again, you guys had an incredible run that year. Now, Roosevelt, East Meadow to me is one of the biggest schools, right? In Nassau, right? You're in the big conference, if you will.
Yeah.
Roosevelt's a smaller school. What's the graduating class in Roosevelt? Roughly,
is it
around 200 in that range? Yeah.
200-300, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a much smaller school, right? And I would say that obviously Roosevelt's had some good athletes and wrestlers over the years, but I think you're building a program. I think you guys are getting better and better. So that's got to be exciting. What's been your most exciting moment so far? I think you said you came in 2013. We're in 2021. It's been a tough season for anyone wrestling on Long Island, right? It's been an abbreviated season. I think we're thankful that we have something, right? But what's been your most exciting moment when you look back on that 7 or 8 year run from at now that at coaching at Roosevelt? What's been your most exciting time?
One of maybe the first experience. I mean, I was never one of the leading guys at East Meadow. I was never a standout on the team, so I was never in a county finals. But my second year coaching at Roosevelt, Monair McDonald, who was our heavyweight, made it to the county finals, and that was our first year in Division I as well. We had just moved out of Division II. So him being there and then preparing to sit in the corner actually is a funny story. Coach Gillespie from Wantagh, obviously everybody knows Gillespie, came and sat next to me for that. He didn't say much. He just wanted to be there for support. And having Monair win a come from behind match in the county finals was definitely an experience. Not just winning a county title, but it was just showing that this program's moving in the right direction and that there's a lot more, more things that we can get done here.
Well, just not to make you blush, but Coach Gillespie, when we talked off, we just had Coach Gillespie on. I don't know if you saw that episode. It was a great episode. And one of the things when we talked to him off air was about you. And he didn't mention that specific story, but he did talk about all the wonderful things that you do. And so I think you have a fan. Anytime Coach Gillespie's behind you, right? That's obviously a big thing.
Oh,
and Matt Diano is telling me that you guys have a little over 1,000 students in the high school, so right around 250. So my point was, it's not the smallest school, but it's one of the small schools. You're teetering on, on Division I and II. What do you now? Are you a teacher in Roosevelt? What's your kind of role? What's your role?
I'm a special education teacher in the middle school. Okay.
Well, that being a middle school coach, middle school teacher, I think somewhat helpful, especially wrestling, because you could pluck the kid, help recruit and pluck kids in middle school before they get to high school. I'm sure you've already done that.
Right.
So you're telling me that after only your second year, you had a county champ. Not only did you have a county finals, a county champ. I mean, that must have been an amazing experience.
It was a good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. So what are the goals for you at Roosevelt? What are the goals for the program over the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
I want to get a youth program started here. There's no question that, youth programs, the Wantaghs, Freeports, Uniondales, all have youth programs. I know we can definitely get it started here with the right support. I'd like to get that going. And again, just continue building the program, making this a positive experience for everybody here. Something that, in the future, they'll be able to talk, proudly talk about Roosevelt wrestling or their time as a Roosevelt wrestler. And I mean, we're definitely capable of doing, great things here. We had just missed the top 10 a couple of years ago in the county tournament. So getting back there is definitely a goal. And just keep moving in a positive direction here.
Well, Coach, I want to say it again. First of all, if there's anything that we could do to assist you guys, I'd love to help. We have a lot of people that are rooting for me from afar. You already are you already are on that upward swing and upward momentum. And I do believe you. Not only can you do it, you will do it. And the fact that you're already just out of the top 10 after a few years is really a testament, to what you're trying to accomplish. What's the biggest challenge? Look, you're not a first year coach, right? You've been around for 5, 6, 7 years. So you've already went through what I like to say 1 or 2 cycles, right? Every 4 years is kind of a cycle of new kids, right? What's your biggest challenge?
Introducing the sport to the kids, getting it known. Roosevelt is 1 square mile. We're very well known for football.
I was about to say that. Sure, of course. Legend. Yep.
Yeah. And really, kids don't know what wrestling does. They don't even know it exists until 7th or 8th grade here. So a lot of times they'll start wrestling in middle school, or they'll start, varsity in the high school. And they more often than not, they tough it out, and, they build and they grow and become successful. But getting them introduced to it is tough.
Well, I don't
And
want to, harp on it, but it deserves it. I mean, the fact that you were just out of the, the top 10 so quickly is pretty amazing. And again, I do want to give Coach Vito a shout out. He's one of the winningest, football coaches on Long Island. I mean, some circles will say he's the best football coach on Long Island. He's certainly in the discussion, right? So it can be done, and it will be done at Roosevelt. Are you getting, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I guess I kind of am. Are you getting, football kids out for the team? Is that a goal of yours to, to start getting some of those football studs out for the team?
usually happens in middle school. Around the high school age, we'll get a lot of kids from soccer
Okay.
actually coming out for the wrestling team.
Now, I believe at East Meadow there's a lot of. I mean, I don't say East Meadow, but I think that soccer and wrestling oftentimes are a good fit, right? I think if you look back in history, but certainly love to see you get more and more football kids. Not trying to get involved in internal, kind of discussions at Roosevelt. Certainly not against Coach Vito, right? That guy's a legend. So I think what are the next 2 or 3 things that you want to do? So we talked about a kid program. We talked about recognition. And I think of Roosevelt sports. I think of a whole community and a whole town. You said it's at 1 square mile. It's a tight knit community, right? What are some of the things that you think that you have on the horizon to kind of accomplish those goals? Have you kind of put pen to paper? I know it looks like you're a thinking guy. You're a guy that looks forward and thinks and wants to do better. And it's clear that you're already getting results. What are some of the things that 1 or 2 things that if I asked you at the same question in 3 years, that hopefully you did?
Definitely hosting events here, making it a community type of thing. I mean, you see the football games, the community comes out. Obviously, not this year's going to be a little different, but
Sure.
The community's behind it. So I think that's something that our wrestling program is on the horizon of doing. We'll host events here, and again, we'll get the community backing.
That's great. Now, what was the? I think that the answer to this question is a little skewed. When we talked to, what I wanted to ask you was, how many kids do you carry on the full roster? I think across the board and really nationally, but let's talk about Long Island. The numbers have obviously went down a little bit. I think that's predicated on COVID. Obviously, what was the roster size kind of this year and last year and the year before?
So typically I'll carry, about 25 to 30 that are here, consistently, and that's our solid team. This year was around 17.
Okay.
And
Well,
again,
yeah. Coach, those numbers are consistent with really the size of your team. So I think those are good numbers. Obviously, you want more, right? But I want to just say before we bring in your athlete that you came from East Meadow, one of the biggest schools, super successful program. You're at a smaller school. Obviously, there's been tons of athletes and wrestlers at a Roosevelt, but I wouldn't say, at least recently, it was a traditional wrestling school. I think that you're changing that. You got a county finalist. You have people behind you. It's going to happen. Stay the course. If there's anything that we could do on the show, I sincerely mean that. We definitely support you guys, and we support you. And people know what you're doing, and keep it up. But Billy, if you could bring in Coach's athlete, and if you can introduce your athlete, we'd love to talk to him for a few minutes.
Hello.
Hey, Shaq.
Hey.
So Shaquille Daniel.
We see you, Shaq. We see you.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Good, Shaq.
So Shaquille, he came to me, and I want to say beginning of 10th grade. Quiet kid. He came to one of our open mats.
Quiet. I don't know about quiet and Shaq so far. It looks like he's full of smiles. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I believe that, but I'm kidding.
He was quiet. I mean, and still polite. One of the most polite kids I might have ever met. Was interested in wrestling. Came out 10th grade, and from there on, you could see he could flip a switch when he's on the mat. Still polite, but you know, the kid could wrestle. He's disciplined, and he was our varsity captain this year because he can get the team going. He's a positive role model. He's somebody that I want the rest of the program, the kids that are coming in, to look up to.
Well, Shaquille, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
I enjoy listening to your coach talk about you, because when coach watches video, he's smiling from ear to ear, and that makes me smile. So
Yeah,
again,
thank
so Shaquille, how are you? I know this was it's a tough season for any wrestling fan on Long Island, right? We
Yes.
coach, we didn't know if we were gonna have a season, we were gonna have a season, we weren't gonna have a season, we were, right? It's been tough. What were your goals for this season? You're a leader. I already can tell the kids follow you. You're a role model. You got an incredible smile and a lot of energy, just in talking to you for a few seconds, right?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. What were your goals for this year, Shaquille?
I had a lot of goals. I worked very pretty hard in the off season, because since they extended it, so I worked hard to get there. I really wanted to become a county champ, or even place at counties, from like 10th grade year, coming from getting pinned, because trying to refresh wrestling, getting pinned, to coming back up and like pinning or beating guys that's like top in the county. So I really wanted to get to counties this year and show, become the underdog, to just rise up and work myself off only for like a year. Just work hard, and then you could become, could become county champ if you work hard.
Shaq, I'd be lying if I can tell you that I wasn't just disappointed, that for a number of reasons. One now is that I didn't get to watch you, finish out the county tournament. Obviously, the powers that be made those decisions, and it is what it is. But I can tell you that from what you just told me, you're going to get a lot of it. If I check back with you in 3 or 4 years, and 5 years, 10 years, I will 100% bet that you will draw on the experiences that you learned in wrestling and that work ethic, that you just talked about. It might not have been, a great story to end with wrestling. It clearly wasn't, but as wrestlers, we persevere, and I know Coach will tell you that, and we worked through it. What was it like wrestling, for Roosevelt? If you looked at yourself when you first came out for the team to now, what would you what would you kind of tell yourself differently? You said, hey, ninth grade Shaq versus now. What would you tell yourself?
Man, when I first walked it was in the weight room. I still remember, man, I was nervous, because, I wrestled in middle school, and then I came ninth grade year. I took a year off. Ninth grade year. 10th grade, I came in. I still remember walking in the weight room. I was very nervous. I was like, I don't even remember how to take a shot, and they taught me how to take a shot and all that, back to like the basics and stuff like that. In the off season, when it was off season, I said, I gotta find like clubs. There was clubs open, like Ascend Wrestling and then Savage, that I went to, and those coaches helped me a lot. Coach Diano and Coach Craig, they helped me a lot, and
yeah, I mean, Nassau County has a ton of opportunities. Obviously, Sen does a great job, and Coach Fatigliano, Coach Accordino does it with it. I think he runs it out of Wantar, right, Coach Seyers? So not so far away. It's wonderful that you intuitive to take advantage of those opportunities. What's it like to wrestle for Roosevelt? What does it mean to you when you put that that Roosevelt singlet on, or that Roosevelt sweatshirt on? You're walking around your neighborhood, or you're walking around the mall, or wherever it is. What does that mean to you?
It feels great to, it feels great to just like wrestle for my hometown that I was born and raised. It feels so great, and this year I wanted to put my picture up in that Hall of Fame, but it didn't. Hopefully it will happen, but I just wanted to be a leader this year, and I think that coach made me captain, and it just feels great to walk around and walk around and say, I wrestle for Roosevelt, even though we get doubted sometimes.
Well, I don't doubt you, and then you'll be surprised. And again, I told Coach this, you got a ton of people in your corner, and I'm super proud of you. I just met you, but you're an infectious kid. You know, you're the kind of kid that everyone wants to coach. You know, right, Coach
Yeah.
Seyers? I mean, you sound like a great human being, well raised, and again, we didn't get to do all the things that we wanted to this year in wrestling, but I'd be willing to bet you that you'll look back and be fond memories, and I'm sure that you not only helped yourself, but you helped guide other kids on the team, and helped Coach Shires with the program. And I could tell you this, that I'd be willing to bet over the next few years, Roosevelt's going to keep getting better and better. And I know that you had a big part of that, right?
Yes.
So, I do want to say to Coach Shires, we appreciate you. Go Roosevelt. Get some of those football players out, right? I'm saying that to Coach Vito, and big fan of his, obviously. Shaq, you keep doing good things in life.
Thank you.
Whatever
Thank you.
what you learned in wrestling, that I want you to look back at this this video. It's on YouTube. Be there for a while, right? Look back at this video and look at those words that you just said, and I'm pretty certain that you're going to be successful in life. And I mean that. And you're a very good kid, Shaq, and we appreciate you having you on the show. Coach Shires, if you can hang around. Shaq, you take care.
Thank you so much.
Things. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, Coach.
See you, Shaq.
See that? All right, Coach. Says goodbye.
Bye.
Look, where I coach Sable, different community, but small community. We have a football team that's similar to Roosevelt, if you follow football, right? So I understand some of the dynamics, and maybe some of the ways you could work around that, and I'd love to help you, Coach. And I mean, that's
I appreciate. Hey, this alone, the level of guys that you have on here, to have me on here is an honor, and I know everybody's going to be watching this